This is Dean Hill, your independent candidate for United States Senate Senator of Tennessee. Today I come to you all more discussed than usual at our corrupt politicians and federal agencies that are aiding and abetting them that are corrupt also. You know, honestly, I have no use for most federal agencies. The federal government is here to protect the people and protect the sovereignty of the United States of America. It was never set up to run all our programs, hold people hostage, like education. If you don't have enough kids in class or do what they ask or use the books they use, you don't get the education money. So that's one of them I'll start with. Department of Education. Actually, since we've set up Department of Education about 40 years ago, give or take, education's went downhill. You know, I don't want to correlate people coming in and shooting people with that to a degree, but that's more of a conglomeration of problems, such as our corrupt politicians constantly lying, cheating, not being held accountable, getting federal agencies to work with them. I mean, they're setting the example for our whole country. And the people who haven't figured it out yet, they keep voting for them as our superiors, and we're the peons because we got a Democrat or Republican we need to vote for. You're voting that in. You're voting in the corruption. I'm running against two people right now that, Marsha Blackburn and Phil Bredesen are the favorites for the Democrat and Republican Party to win. And she walked through the big pharma companies. She walked them through House and Senate to get bills passed. Mr. Bredesen himself, used a lot of tax money to get certain companies here in Tennessee, and then ends up with a 20-year contract for his company for solar systems for those companies. So you don't go into politics without money and come out rich unless you're corrupt. I can't remember which president said that, but it's been said many more times. Then we get to the EPA. It was very interesting to me that there was so much hate for Donald Trump, like him or not. There's so much hate that people were actually complaining because he went against the EPA. Now, the EPA, what I know about them is how many times they went into towns where they already tested. They told them, we've already tested, don't do anything. They send people who were probably hired through nepotism that didn't really know what they were doing and broke open dams, ruined the water. There's many other instances of what the EPA has done worse than it has helped. You got the FDA, you got the American Heart Association that tells you what to eat and what to not eat. Oh, today eggs are good, tomorrow eggs are bad. This fat's good, now, oh, this fat's bad. Well, then when you look who's giving them the money to do all this research, wow, isn't that interesting how the companies that they're saying the food is good for ends up being in the companies that just paid them for research. My master's that I couldn't finish, I won't lie about it, that my children, I had to go to work for my children, was in quantitative statistics. And I found out very quickly, quantitative psychology, which is basically a statistics, very quickly how you can skew any statistical analysis with just a couple of anomalies purposefully or accidentally. So today I'm just sick and tired of it. We got to quit voting for these people. You got to quit putting they're not better than us just because they have money. And that is sadly enough been true. The person that wins most races is the one that puts the most money in. So you got to ask yourself why the telecom services and different people are giving Marsha Blackburn so much money. Why they're getting hundreds and hundreds, well, I won't say hundreds of millions because it's not president, but they're getting millions and millions of dollars to run for a job that pays $100,000 a year. Okay, so that's a big question you should ask yourself. We need to send people of the people back up there again. That's how it was set up. That's how Thomas Paine wrote it in Common Sense. You need to take a normal man who works, who feeds his family, take a welder, a mechanic, a janitor, somebody who actually thinks about their budget, feeds their family, knows if they spend too much money, they're not going to have food on their plate, so they know how to work a budget, that cares about his family, that cares about the people. I'm going to tell you what you need to research here lately. Well, let me say, because those are the people you want to go up to Congress. Those are actually the people you want making decisions for you. They are not the dumb people. They are the smart people that understand how you run a household, how you take care of your family, how you take care of your city, your country, and your state. The people that have always had money or or just a pretty face and you send up there because of their smile, they just go along with whoever tells them what they need to be told so that they can keep getting the next job and keep moving up, which is actually really big in the federal government. I've worked there. It's just nepotism and don't ask any questions and you'll keep moving up. That's basically the way the Democratic and Republican Party work. But here lately, I'm very sick at our government because they're still wasting all our money on this Mueller investigation. They're wasting our money on this Russia investigation when they won't even look to the left or right of all the other laws that are being broken. Mainstream media is not telling you all about all the pedophile rings that will be broken up. The corrupt politicians or people or aides to politicians, people that are around politicians that were in sex trafficking and pedophilia. There's been cults that were sex trafficking broke up by prominent people in the music industry and the television industry, I should say. I don't recall any in the music industry. But the television industry, and they're not talking about it. They talk about it for 5 seconds and go back to the investigation with Russia. That's all they want to zone in on is Russia investigation. Russia. The indictments they gave were for Russians that weren't even here because they hacked the DNC. They didn't even hack our elections and change our votes. They hacked the DNC. That's fine if they ever come out with something on the president. I mean, understandably, if he broke the law, he broke the law. But it's been over a year. It's just a waste of our money. Where we know where laws have broke, we know crimes, we know that if you do your research, you can see all these pedophile rings, all this high up stuff from these people that think they're better than us have been doing illegal activities and hurting children. And that's just so disgusting. Facebook, I can't even send it out. There was a priest with HIV who raped 30 children. I believe it was in Mexico. And the Pope exonerated him. They said, that's fine. He served his penance. Well, that same man was hung the next day outside of his church. And I sent that out because, sorry, you don't rape kids and you give them AIDS so they can die. So sorry for you people that don't like what I just said, but, them taking him out and hanging him, I can't say that they were wrong.